We're joined now by our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, again, noteworthy that the FBI now involved. The FBI saying it's doing everything in its part, everything in its power, rather, to bring Nancy Guthrie home. What does the FBI's involvement look like? What does that mean for the investigation moving forward?
Yeah, sure. So the FBI's involvement here, they're involved on the technical side. Was also encouraged to hear that they're involved on the interview side, that they're conducting those interviews, organizing that. Those interviews are also being shared by the Sheriff's Department. They've got their task team there. That's the Cellular Analysis Survey Team. What they do is they look for Nancy Guthrie's house. They know where it is on the map, and they have a map of cell phone towers in and around that house and any other potential location that they would be looking for. And if you think of a cell phone tower as a piece of pie, and that there are three pieces on that pie, and that's where the antennas are located, you look at all the antennas that would have coverage over that house, over that area, and some other details that are law enforcement sensitive that I'm not going to share. They put that information together, and they start to develop a baseline. So if they were going to look and say you and I were neighbors, they would say, well, Tom's cell phone's generally always there, and Craig's cell phone's generally always there, and it's at night when they're not at work. Start to look for some things that don't belong. And there's some other things that they look for in the process of processing that area from a cellular standpoint, and using computers and some pretty accelerated programs start to develop whether or not there are any needles in a stack of needles that are not normally there. And that process is a little bit more complicated than what I'm sharing, but that's one of the things that they're working on. They're also analyzing the cell phone, and so I'm encouraged to hear that they're analyzing Nancy Guthrie's cell phone. It sounds like what they would be doing here, potentially any other individuals that they would want to interview. So that's going on. I was surprised to hear from the sheriff that they have not been able to look at
the surveillance,
suggesting the surveillance video from Nancy Guthrie's home. And then presumably, according to his own statements, that information is backed up on the cloud. And so that's something that they would serve a subpoena to any one of the companies that would have that service. That would be an exigent circumstance at this point, meaning that they can ask for that information and not have to wait for a certain period of time. So I'm curious about that. There was a question asked during the press conference that I've been wondering about, which is the idea of any sort of tire tracks. Yeah. Given where the home is located, the fact that there's some vegetation, some brush, and that earlier the sheriff said, hey, we don't see any sign of any cars or any automobiles from any of the other cameras from the homes surrounding Nancy Guthrie's home. It was curious to hear that and wondering whether or not there'd be an ATV or any sort of other type of vehicle that could have been behind the home for anybody that was involved in this abduction. Taking a step back, the sheriff saying, we don't know where she is. I think if you're the Guthries, if you're me, if you're anybody else, their primary concern, I think at this point, Craig, is whoever has her, whoever was involved in this, whoever has knowledge of this crime, and there are definitely people that I'm sure do.
Absolutely.
Look, they're not going to ask any questions. I can imagine they're going to ask any questions. I wouldn't ask any questions. Drop off Nancy Guthrie at a hospital. Drop off at a fire station. Do something there to help out Nancy. It might not be too late. Holding out hope for that outcome. Law enforcement will do its thing later.
The family has been adamant from the beginning of all of this that they simply just want Nancy Guthrie home. They want her home. The medications that she takes are needed for survival. And to your point, time is of the essence. And if you know something, say something.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.